Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Charles, and you're watching Save Our Children TV. Before we get started, let me make sure I can hear myself. 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 Alright, so today we're going to talk about our four stories for you guys today. And this first story happened in Clayton County, Georgia. A 7-year-old is killed in a hit and run, which happened last year. And we're going to talk about that story. Her parents just recently been arrested. Then we have another 7-year-old girl who had autism that was left in a closet for so long that she became mummified. A third story is about a toddler who's left in a car overnight and dies. Parents test positive for drugs. And then our last story, fourth story, is Indiana man gets 25 years to life for the R word on a 10-year-old and got her pregnant. So let's talk about it. Police, parents and parents in Georgia arrested after 7-year-old is hit and killed. Children left alone for hours. The parents went out to do, I believe they were doing Uber Eats, delivering food, left children at a hotel alone. 7-year-old got anxious, left the hotel unsupervised, crossed the street, and was hit and killed. The driver of that vehicle is still at large. Before I get reading this article, if anybody know who this driver was that did this, contact Clayton County PD. Let's get to the article. Parents in Clayton County, Georgia, have been arrested after their 7-year-old daughter was killed in a hit-and-run crash last month. According to a news release from Clayton County Police Department, on September 4th, just after 2 a.m., Kamoriana Williams, who was 7, was seen on video walking in front of a hotel parking lot, and about 10 minutes later, she was seen leaving the parking lot. She was then hit by a car and later died. CCPD said that the video showed that the girl I don't know. Maybe the article got messed up. According to a news release from Clayton County Police Department on September the 4th, just after 2 a.m., Kamoriana Williams, 7, was seen on video walking in front of a hotel parking lot, and about 10 minutes later, she was seen leaving the parking lot. She was then hit by a car and later died. CCPD said that the video showed that the girl's parents left her and other children alone for around 4 hours. 4 hours. Officers arrived at the scene to investigate the crash and began knocking on doors to find Kamoriana's parents, according to CCPD. They eventually knocked on doors at 2 hotels in the area, and one of the doors was left open. Officers apparently found 2 9-year-olds asleep inside the room. Officers spoke with them and learned that they were left in the room by themselves with Kamoriana. CCPD said they eventually made contact with the parents, Crystal Williams, 33, and Jordan Went, 36. They were both asked to come to the scene of the accident. CCPD said Williams and Went had left the children in the hotel room to deliver food. They told investigators that they left a cell phone with the children in case of emergency. The Division of Family and Children Services Georgia removed the other two children from the parents, according to CCPD. Both children have been placed with a family in another state after investigators learned that Williams and Went had allegedly used drugs recently in other circumstances. Warrants were obtained on Tuesday for Williams and Went, according to CCPD. Williams and Went have both been arrested and charged with cruelty to children, contributing to the depriving, contributing to the deprivation of a minor and reckless conduct, according to WSB TV. According to WSB TV, it remains unknown who struck and killed Kamoriana. The investigation is ongoing. No further information has been released. Okay, I want to shout out AFC. He talked about this on his channel a few days ago. Number one, you got to ask yourself. I wouldn't care if you left the children in there and went to go shoot pool. This is the thing. Knowing that there are child predators among the world who walk the streets of these cities and states, why would you think that was normal to leave young children alone to go deliver food for 4 hours? And the red flag is this: nobody in their right mind would leave children alone to go deliver food or to go do anything else. So these people obviously was under the influence of some type of drug to think that was normal to leave children alone in a hotel room or you're gonna so-called deliver food. Two, if you had family members that live in another state, why not take your children to your family member while you went to go deliver food? How hard was that? See, the thing is, I think, in my opinion, I don't think they went to go deliver no food. I think it was more than food they were delivering. Because if you went to go deliver food, you could have brought your children with you. One person could have stayed in the car, other could have got out, delivered the food. So what was the excuse? There was no excuse to leave children alone in a hotel room. And the negative and the negative impact is that you cause your 7-year-old child to lose a life. And I think that had these parents not left, well, I think it was mom and mom's boyfriend. Had they had not left those children alone, that 7-year-old would be alive today. And so I think that they both should have also been charged with reckless homicide. And I'm gonna tell you why. Or at least accessory to reckless homicide. Because you caused, just because you didn't intend for your child to get hand killed, you caused her to be hand killed. When you left her alone unsupervised. When you left children alone unsupervised. And so I think that the state dropped the ball. They should got some type of murder charge because you're just as guilty in the eye of the law. And in my opinion, they should have been booked under some type of murder charge. But I digress. I think it's more to the story, and I believe once this case go to trial, and it's happened last year, so they probably won't get to trial until about 2024. But when this case get to trial, all you best believe there's gonna be more to the story, and I will give you an update on this story when it become available. I know there's more to the story because nobody would just in their right mind leave their children alone in a hotel to go so-called deliver food. That's a red flag. That's not normal. So you mean to tell me that you will leave your children alone, knowing that there are risks that you are taking? There are evil people who live among us, and you do not know what creepy person is living next to that hotel. You don't know that. You were leaving your children alone. Just for anybody to come in there and snatch the children up, that wasn't smart. Children can't defend for themselves. So you put your children in danger, and it results in your child losing her life. And at the end of the day, your boss should be held equally accountable, and that driver needs to be facing charges too for hitting and leaving the scene of a accident and causing a child to lose a life. So I think that driver hopefully will be located and locked up. Um, I think these parents or parent, I think this mother should never had children in the first place. Shout out to AFC, Children for Benefits. You only had the child to get the benefits from that child, and I think it's wrong. And I think parents needs to be exposed for that. We need to stop allowing parents to take advantage of their children. We need to expose these parents, and these parents needs to be punished to the full extent of the law. You commit a crime, you do the time. Thank you guys so much for watching this particular story. Let's move on to story number two. But before that, let me get her name back up here. Kimoriana Williams, R.I.P. You deserve way better than that. Your siblings deserve better than that, and you were taken away too soon, and you were failed, and so many people failed you. Your mother, and her boyfriend, because I'm pretty sure my mom's mom and my oh, okay, parents and Clan County. So your parents failed you, your mother and your father. Again, should never have been able to procreate and have children. You couldn't take care of them. Bottom line. Comment, hit that subscribe. 4 days ago, I'm on News Week. Mother is charged after 7-year-old decaying body is found in a closet. A mom stands accused of murdering her own child after the decomposing body of her 7-year-old daughter was found stuffed in a closet at their home. The grim discovery was made by a concerned stranger who said he entered the apartment in DeKalb County, Georgia. Another 7-year-old girl killed in Georgia. After noticing the front door was open and a foul smell emanating from inside, police later identified the little girl as Olivia Hobbs Jordan and arrested her 27-year-old mother, Alondra Hobbs, on suspicion of felony murder and cruelty in the second degree. DeKalb County Police Department said in a statement published on Facebook on Friday it was not clear if Hobbs had an attorney. The distressing case comes after experts warned how widespread child abuse is across the U.S., with a study published last August suggesting that school closures during the pandemic may have allowed some cases to slip under the radar. Child, mal- maltreatment Child maltreatment is a vexing problem in the U.S., says study author Maria Fitzpatrick, a professor of economics and public policy at Cornell University, Jeb Ebrook School of Public Policy. To protect children, we need to better understand why so many are maltreated. 13% according to one study, and 4 in 10 according to another. Early detection is crucial because it led to quicker intervention and that can result in providing a child with a safe, permanent home. The statement about the Georgia murder investigation issued by the DeKalb County Police Department on Friday revealed that investigation was launched on Sunday, June 25th, after the discovery of a body that afternoon. A local man who chooses to remain anonymous to a news station, WXIA, that he was the person who first found the girl around 4 p.m. He said he approached the apartment because the door was wide open, which was when he was overcome by a foul smell coming from inside. He decided to investigate inside. Objects were strewn around the apartment as though someone had left in a hurry. He then made the sickening discovery that the smell was rotten human flesh when he saw an apparently mummified arm protruding from a closet door. She looked like a mummy, he said. You could tell it was a young girl by what she had on and by her hair. The officer who was called The officer who was called to the scene at the Hinton Valley apartment complex confirmed that the bystander had indeed found a child's body with his report describing how he saw a full head of hair and a decaying arm and leg protruding from the closet when he arrived, according to the Associated Press. One neighbor later told the officer that the female tenant who lived there had moved out and have not been seen for a couple of months. Another officer searched the apartment and found mail address to Alondra Hobbs, which sparked their interest in her as a potential suspect. The little girl's family has been left reeling by the horrifying news. Hobbs' aunt, Latrice Robinson, told Fox 5 Atlanta that she is still struggling to accept the enormity of the tragedy. I woke up this morning and it's been on my mind all day. I don't know, haven't processed it. I, I'm still not believing it. We had no clue the baby Olivia Hobbs Jordan was supposed to be with the dad's mom in Albany. That's what the Hobbs kept telling us. But she was here staying with my sister. She was staying in the back with a guy. Robinson told the local news station that the little girl had autism and said Hobbs also had two other young children. The question is why she said, why didn't you call or pick up the phone and ask for help if you feel like it was overwhelming? We all have issues, but I didn't think she would do something to her kids. The family has set up a GoFundMe fundraising page to help raise money to pay for a funeral, the station reported. As of early Monday, the site has raised $95 of its 7,500 target. DeKalb County Police Department statement read on 6/25/2023. The DeKalb County Homicide Assault Unit began an investigation after the body of an unknown individual that appeared to be a child was located at 2815 Misty Water Drive. The investigation led to the identification of the 7-year-old victim. Further investigation led to the child's mother, Miss Alondria Hobbs, being arrested and charged with felony murder and cruelty in the second degree on 6/29/2023. A police spokeswoman, Officer Elise Rose said Hobbs was at a hospital Friday after having been charged the day before. According to the AP, Rose now revealed why Hobbs had been hospitalized. Police have not yet revealed how the girl died. Newsweek has reached out to the DeKalb County Police Department for further information and comment. You know what this story here reminded me of? The story I just read. The similarities. The mother and the father who left their children at a hotel. This mother left her 7-year-old decaying in a closet, multiple children, but yet you can't take care of the children that you have. So you're willing to lay down and have multiple other children, abuse them, kill them, neglect them, throw them away like trash, then leave and just leave the house empty. Then I was telling the child remains in that closet, and I give kudos and thanks to that man who found that child and put it into law enforcement. And that man's gonna need all types of therapy, and you gotta understand how traumatic that has to be for that man to locate and find that human remain. And at the end of the day, we gotta do better. We gotta do better. We gotta know who we having children with, who we having children by, who are we sleeping with, and who are we dealing with. I always say this on my channel because it is true. A background check will save your life. And so you gotta start doing background checks before laying with people, having children with people who are conniving and evil. You're sleeping with an evil person. Why would you put yourself through that? And then your children have to witness that. So you're not doing your children a favor by doing that. You gotta understand something. We gotta do better. We got to do better. It is up to us to do better. Just saying, we gotta do better. Let's put our children first. Let me pull up her name again. R.I.P. Olivia Hobbs Jordan. You deserve better, and your mother failed you, and she should have did better. And she deserved life in prison. The last story we did, that mother and father also deserve life in prison. They should never be released back into the streets of Atlanta. You kill your children, both 7 years old. Guys who you don't see. Guys who you don't see upset, walking the streets protesting. But where are the community leaders? Where are Black Lives Matter? People should be angry about this. We're angry about everything else, but we're not angry when our children are being killed. We gotta be angry about this because they don't deserve to be killed the way that they are killed. So, um, keep these victims in your thoughts and prayers. So this next story. The story came back on 4th of July, Florida. So Florida takes in there, Polk County, Florida. Authorities in Florida have arrested a couple after their 18-month-old daughter died. The Polk County Sheriff's Office said that the toddler was left in a car by her parents, Joel and Jasmine Vanden, both 33, overnight as temperatures approached 90 degrees. Officials said the couple returned home from 4th of July celebration around 3 a.m. on Tuesday, July the 4th, the morning, and started to unload their car. Sheriff Grady Judd said that Jasmine asked Joel to bring the toddler inside while she took care of the other two children. When Joel went to get the girl, the car doors were closed, and he assumed his wife took her inside already. When Joel woke up later that morning, he asked one of his kids to check on the baby, but she wasn't in her crib. Joel and Jasmine found the girl unresponsive in the car and rushed her to the hospital, where she was pronounced dead. Sheriff Judd said Joel and Jasmine were tested for drugs at the hospital. They each tested positive for marijuana and alcohol, while Joel also tested positive for methamphetamine. They were both taken into custody and they were both taken into custody and are facing charges. They're facing charges of aggravated manslaughter of a child. You can imagine what kind of shape they were in when they got home from the party and left this child harassed, sorry, and left this child harnessed in the baby seat in the back of the car. Sheriff Judd said this child is 18 months old. She's not old enough to let herself out of the harness, but she certainly is old enough to realize she is suffering a treacherous death at negligence of Joel and Jasmine. My opinion is this. Earlier today, I checked the weather. It was not even almost. It's like it was 87 degrees. And you mean to tell me that you would leave your child in a vehicle knowing that Florida is very, very hot and you didn't realize, quote unquote, that you left your child in a vehicle? Go back inside, look in the crib, notice she was still in the car. But yet you pay attention to the other children and not your 18-month-old who should have been taken out of that car and taken into the house under some air conditioning, as hot as it was outside in a 90-degree weather. These parents knew what they were doing. And I'm glad they're charged with aggravated manslaughter and not just manslaughter. This was aggravated. This was intentional because they knew what they were doing. They were under the influence of drugs. And when you are under the influence of drugs, your head, your mind, your brain, your cranium is not registered. So it's all just going. And you're not realizing that you're putting your children in danger. And so I think that this needs to be a lesson to our parents, especially when the weather is getting more nicer outside. You need to check in your vehicle when you have children in your vehicle Because if you leave your child alone in a vehicle when you get out, whether you did it intentional, accident, mistake, you can be held up. You could be in a lot of trouble. You can be arrested. So think about that. What is more important? My child in a hot vehicle or other children inside of a house that is already being looked after? That child should have long time ago been out of that vehicle. As hot as it was in Florida, this was intentional. The first thing they should have done was taken this child out of the car. Then you could have went back to the car and got what else you need out the vehicle. Then go back to the car and double check and make sure you got everybody out the vehicle. Get everything you needed out the vehicle. Because you just never know the risk. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. That 18-month-old child should never lost her life. But yeah, she had parents who care more about themselves than her well being. And parents, stop having children if you can't raise your children. You're bringing innocent children into the world and not taking care of your responsibility. So you shouldn't have children. Plain and simple. Keep this child in your thoughts and prayers. And the other man gets 41 years for van crash that killed a 6-year-old. Wow. Got it right here. And they are mothers and fathers to stand and sit in front of the congregation because we finna speak facts around here. Man gets life sentence, 25 years to life. Man gets life sentence, 25 years to life for the R word aping a girl who was 9 at the time and first tried to leave Ohio for an abortion. But I believe she's 10 as we speak. So let's see. The man found guilty of blinking and impregnating a 9-year-old Ohio girl who later traveled to Indiana for an abortion has been sentenced to life in prison. On Wednesday afternoon, 28-year-old Jerson Fuentes appeared at the Franklin County Court of Common Pleas in Columbus, Ohio, where he entered a plea agreement which would allow him to be eligible to seek probation after 25 years if granted parole. Fuentes will also have to register as a Tier 3 blank offender and will have to register as a Tier 3 Okay, and will have a lifetime of in-person verification every 90 days. Last July, Fuentes was arrested and charged with blanking the child in a case that dominated nationwide headlines after the girl who turned 10 shortly after was then forced to travel to neighboring Indiana for an abortion due to Ohio's 6-week trigger ban at the time, which came in effect after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade last year. According to a police investigator who testified at a hearing last year, Fuentes, who was from Guatemala, and living in Columbus, Ohio, had confessed to blanking the girl at least twice. The case went to a game further attention after the Indiana State Attorney General launched an investigation into Caitlin Bernard, the doctor who performed the abortion on the child victim. The Attorney General Todd Rokita accused Bernard of violating state law by not reporting the child abuse and violating patent privacy protections, despite Bernard's refusal to discuss specific details of the victim's case and identity. In response, Bernard sued Rokita, accusing him of causing her reputation irreparable harm last November. Rokita asked a state medical board to discipline Bernard. Following the abortion, Bernard became the center of a political firestorm after right-wing media called the story not true and a lie. At one point, a Republican commenter said there was no proof that the victim even exists. Meanwhile, Joe Biden condemned the case of child victim, saying last year she was forced to have to travel out of the state to Indiana to seek to terminate the pregnancy and maybe save her life. 10 years old, 10 years old, blanked, 6 weeks pregnant, already traumatized, was forced to travel to another state. In May, the Indiana State Medical Board ruled that it would allow Bernard to continue practicing in Indiana and that she would not have to lose her license. It has also found Bernard not guilty of violating reporting requirements about child abuse in the case. However, the board did rule that Bernard violated patient privacy laws and is discussing the case with the media. It ultimately voted to issue a letter of reprimand to Bernard and fines of $3,000. Now, the reason why I told parents, mother and fathers, to sit in front of me is because there's more to the story. Well, the man who committed this act, this happened inside of the victim's home. And my question to the parent would have to be how the hell he got inside the home to do this. One. Two, if the victim parent knew that he was in that home to begin with, and they allowed this man inside their home, and they knew that this man was no good, that they could be held liable too in the eyes of the law. Because there'll be no way that man, this 28-year-old man, should be at a minor's home, whether the mother gave consent or not. My question again, why was this person allowed in the victim's home? Something ain't right for this to happen. And you have to ask yourself, where was the parents when this was happening? The fact that he had that much opportunity to lay in the bed with this child and made a child with a child who he R word. Now, if the parents saw something suspicious and did not report it, then you could be in trouble for that. And I think that more parents needs to be aware. You don't trust people you don't know around your children. We live in America. You do not know what someone's intent and will is. Intent. You don't know what they're thinking in their mind. You don't. There's a lot of signs that you need to watch when a predator is around your children. And the first sign is knowing what this predator is up to. Take notes. Is he acting suspicious? Or is she acting suspicious? Is this person have a record? Is this person this? Is this person that? So there's all types of just you just gotta be safe and sorry. And parents, please be more, just be more aware. Be more aware. That child's gonna need all types of counseling, all types of help, because when you're victimized at a young age or at any age, that's called trauma, and people live with that for the rest of their lives, and that could turn into something else. It could turn to suicide. It could turn to many other things beyond that. So that child's gonna need help, and that child's gonna need to talk to someone ASAP, and that mother and father or whoever knew about this needs help themselves, because it's not okay. And you just never know. You never know. Like, comment, subscribe, turn post notifications on, hit that thumbs up bell. Don't forget to turn on your post notifications so you'll be notified every single time I drop a brand new video on this channel. And I'll see you guys on Monday. Peace.